Hello and welcome to the Find Your Feminine Fire podcast. I am your host, Amanda Testa. I am a sex, love, and relationship coach. And in this podcast, my guests and I talk sex, love, and relationships and everything that lights you up from the inside out. Welcome. Hello, and we are on the cusp of a new leap year. Today is February 29th, 2024, as I record this. And I am excited because I feel this momentum of change in all kinds of ways. And change can also be a very challenging time, a painful time. An awakening can feel scary, yet it's also a very powerful and exciting time. And I feel this desire to really leap in and be open. And I am wanting to share a couple of things with you because I think as we enter into these opportunities for looking at things in a new light, there are powerful mindset shifts that can really help with regards to reclaiming your feminine fire, having better relationships, feeling more connected to yourself and your partner. And as we move into this time, I'm curious for you. What feels like something you're ready to say yes to? What feels like something you're ready to leap into? And I had the pleasure this morning of interviewing Gay Hendricks, who wrote the book, The Big Leap. You know, it's such a powerful time because we can make commitments, be willing to make changes, and start to see the results very soon, right? And so I think this is an important thing to ask yourself, right? I'm making a lot of changes in my own life and my own business, and I'm excited to share. You probably have heard that I'm going to be doing a relaunch of the podcast soon, which is so exciting. And as you can imagine, it has been a ton of work. So you will notice there hasn't been quite as many episodes, but we're going to get back to our weekly rotation very soon with a lot of fun new things. And as I mentioned that reminds me that I'm going to send out a little request to you pod squatters out there that are regular listeners and that are open to supporting me. I'm going to be having a really fun giveaway. And if you would like to participate, I'm going to invite you, if you want to be on the turn on team that's really behind like this relaunch and sharing the word about the podcast, maybe some things you've experienced that you've enjoyed about the podcast. Maybe if you haven't done a review yet and you want to do a review, that really does help the podcast get out to more people. Then it would mean the world to me if you would join me and be on the turn on team. So how do you join? You can go to amandatesta.com/turn on team, amandatesta.com/turn on team. And you can be part of that energy, of that excitement, of that aliveness, of bringing even more awesome interviews and insights on how to find your feminine fire, reclaim your sensual spark, and create the epic relationships that you desire. And on this note, there's going to be some really great giveaways. So I'm going to have all kinds of fun gift baskets. There are going to be really great prizes, including a Lilo vibrator, including some amazing books, some gifts from some of the previous guests, as well as a lot of other fun surprises along the way. So I will invite you to join me at, again, amandatesta.com/turn on team. All right. Okay. Back to the leaping forward in 2024. So I'll invite you when it comes to your relationship and you wanting to make some changes, maybe thinking, what is it that I want to call in, right? What are the experiences I want to enjoy with my partner? What are the things I want to feel in my body? What are the memories I want to make as I look into these next 4 years with my partner, right? Sometimes we can get so in the weeds that we forget that we are in it together and that we might have shared goals. I talked about this at the beginning of the year, like setting those intentions for your year. But as you look, it's sometimes fun to think about like the 4-year patterns of your life, right? I was amazed when I took a look at this because I hadn't really thought about it. And as I was looking at the past few leap years, it's pretty amazing when you look back on your life, what you can celebrate. I think we don't do that enough for ourselves. So even just thinking that, right? Like right now, we're 2024. We can think back to 2020. What was going on for you? I know it was COVID. My husband had just had a stroke. There was a lot of craziness happening. Kids were homeschooling. There was a lot. It was a challenging time, right? And to think now, we're like, what an amazing gift to be on the other side of that. Then I think, okay, what was 4 years before that? Oh, well, let's think. I started my business almost like 2016. I started my business a year before, right? So that was another huge chapter of my life. Started my business October of 2015. And then what was 4 years before that? Well, my daughter was born, right? So you can see when you look, it makes me laugh too, because if you think about high school, I remember those 4 years of high school felt like an eternity, right? Like freshman to senior, all the big experiences you would have every year. And as we get older, time just kind of like it's different, right? 10 years can fly by in an instant. And we used to think those 4 years were so long. So it's fun to think about. Okay, right now, you're stepping into these next 4 years. What's the energy that you want to bring in? Who do you want to be as you step into these next 4 years? How, if you were to be your most sensual self, what might that look like for you, right? What aspects of yourself might you need to befriend? What aspects of yourself might you need to have some healing with, right? What aspects of yourself might you need to celebrate more? What aspects of yourself might need to lead the show a little bit more, right? The most empowered part of you, the most enlivened, um, highest version of you, right? There's that part of you is inside of you. And so if you could take a moment, even just right now, and connect to that empowered part, this is the part of you that is, it's got your highest good in mind. It wants what's best for the collective, including you, right? It really has that vision of you living your life to the best that you can, right? Living in your zone of genius, giving your gifts to the world. Because the more of us that are giving our gifts fully to the world, the better our world will be, right? Heart-centered leaders, heart-centered people doing good in the world, right? Because yes, there's always going to be that shadow side as well. And the more we actually embrace those aspects of ourselves, the more whole we will be, right? It can be really easy to shun different parts of ourselves and tell them, yeah, I want no part of that. But it's just like a kid who wants your attention that you're trying to say no to. They're going to get louder and more annoying and more obnoxious until you give them the attention they want. It's true with other parts of us as well. So it's really important for us to take a look at all the aspects of ourselves and find a way to bring all of them to the table, right? I love the theory of having them all come together, and that's what creates more wholeness, right? The more we can accept and appreciate all the different aspects of ourselves, we can really have so much more compassion for our experience. We can forgive ourselves. We can choose what will serve us based on everybody can have their thoughts, but at the end of the day, the most empowered part of you gets to make the decisions, right? And it's that ability that over time, the more you do this kind of work, that you trust yourself, that you trust your ability to make the right decisions and know there is no wrong decision, really. Like, because you know that no matter what happens, you have the capacity to deal with it. You have the resources to figure out a solution, right? You can figure it out. You can find what you need. You can get creative. You can get innovative, and you can figure it out. And often that is a lot of the work I do with my clients is they want to have better connection. They want to have better relationships. They want to have better sex. And a lot of it is they don't trust themselves. They doubt their abilities. They don't feel capable, right? That's a huge challenge that so many face is like, I don't feel good enough. Like, who am I to want this? I'm asking for too much if I ask for that. My needs aren't important. I need to take care of everyone else, right? Well, I've got such a busy family life. I've got to be doing all these things. I'm working full time. I'm shuttling kids everywhere. I'm got a really challenging job and I have a lot of responsibilities, right? So often I hear that. So many of my clients are very high achieving women, very high achieving people that are doing many amazing things in the world. And they need to remember to add themselves into the mix, to know that even though they might have a lot of success in one area of their life, they might not be having it in other areas because there's a part of them that maybe doubts that they deserve that or doubts that they're worthy of that. Or like, yes, of course, I work really hard. I'm worthy of success in my business, but I can't just relax and receive love from my partner, or I can't relax and receive something wonderful that might be happening during sex because I have a hard time letting go and receiving, right? We can be very good at doing, but not necessarily good at receiving. And sometimes that has to do with trust. Like I can't trust myself to surrender, or I can't trust myself to let go. So there's, that self-trust piece is huge to be able to bring that online. And the more we can empower the most empowered part of us, like the more we can really amplify that empowered self, the more it can show up and it's really like the most adult part of you, right? The wisest, most adult part of you that can herd in that part of you that might feel young and small, that needs extra love, that can herd in that part of you that was bullied in high school, that really feels hard sharing your true needs. It can hold that part of you that's hurt from a breakup that you had or from something horrible that might have happened in your life, right? But we can learn to give our body what it needs, give ourselves what we need, give the parts of us what they need, work with our body and our nervous system to kind of like release some of that stuff we're holding on to so that we do have the capacity to hold more good, to hold more pleasure, to receive more, right? And a lot of times there's guilt around that. And so we have to work with the guilt, right? We have to work with that because we are conditioned that we need to go, 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 do, right? Just laying around being in pleasure is a guilty thing that we have those guilty pleasures, right? That's a guilty pleasure. I shouldn't be doing it, right? And so these are a lot of things that we have to work through. To realize, like, yes, the more I allow myself to be in pleasure, the more I can increase my capacity to be in the state of bliss, the more externally things shift, right? Because it can be a real hard shift to be able to hold more of what's good. But then the more you hold, the more capacity you have, right? The more you can handle the hard things, the more you can handle the challenges because you have that capacity. And the more you can handle that, the more good you can let in, right? Because you can't have one without the other, right? We are very multifaceted humans, and there's so many aspects of humanity that we hold within ourselves. And I think right now, like having the vision of what we want to create can be so supportive when things feel challenging or when you feel hopeless. Like that's when you and your heart's medicine are really called to shine. And everybody has a different way of doing that, right? Everyone has a different way of doing that. And so it's honoring your way and showing up in the way that you can. And what might it take to, love yourself a little more so that you can have the capacity to show up for the collective a little more, right? What would it take to maybe make some of these big shifts as we move into these next 4 years? So I'll invite you to contemplate that on this February 29th, 2024. This is a leap year day, right? We have a whole extra day to think about what we want to see change, what we want to see shift. So this is, I guess, a little rambling pep talk, but the good news is that I love the possibilities when you can think in a new and innovative way, right? We have so much more possibility. And that is when it feels exciting. That is when it invites in hope. And so as I wrap up this quick little ditty, I just want to share how much I appreciate all of you for being here, for listening to the podcast, for supporting me. It means the world. I am about to celebrate 6 years of the Find Your Feminine Fire podcast, which is a huge accomplishment. And I was just feeling such gratitude today for creating this platform. So I have been able to just connect with so many incredible people. And I thank you for listening and making it possible. And my biggest intention of all is that it serves you and that the people that I bring on serve you in some way, and that you're learning and that you're growing and that you're finding things that can help improve your life and your relationships. Because my intention, my mission is around connection and love. Like at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do. It's for people to enjoy better connection, better love with themselves and those around them. And so thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so, so much. And I would be so grateful for your help. If you feel like joining the Turn On team, if you feel like helping me spread the word for this podcast relaunch, it would just mean the world to me. So again, you can go to amandatesta.com/turn-on-team, as in turn on, like turn the lights on, Amanda Testa Turn On team, and help us and enjoy the fun and excitement that's going to be happening with this podcast relaunch. Thank you so much again for being a valued and important part of this community. Have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you soon.